Hello, one and all, and welcome to another week of the A2theK Wrestling Show and another week in wrestling. And as always, it is my honor, responsibility, I have to call the results of Monday Night Raw. So, kicking off with the card.
Now I'm right to say,
Monday Night
Carl,
Raw.
this is the Raw after WrestleMania.
This is the Raw after WrestleMania. Because we just don't ever follow, the normal days and we're never out in time. Yeah, another Raw has passed. So, yeah.
Another Raw has passed.
Oops, we did it again. But yeah,
Oh.
this is the post WrestleMania Raw. Not that you would ever think it, but let me run you through the card, Anthony, to
Do we?
maybe cast your own opinions, if you will. So the card was Bobby Lashley kicking off the show against Riddle after
Okay.
some weird opening segment hijinks, in which Bobby Lashley picked up the win. We had Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander still teaming together, even though they're no longer in the hit business, against the Viking Raiders, making a return to Monday Night Raw and picking up the win.
Okay.
So,
Fair
yeah,
enough.
hit
Hopefully we see
business
them
is
again
well
next
and
week.
truly dead. Um, we had Charlotte Flair making a return. It's all about the returns, not the returns we
And
want, the returns we
hopefully
get.
she doesn't get suspended next week.
Hopefully not. We had the WWE Women's title on the line in a WrestleMania rematch for some reason, with Rhea Ripley taking
I
on
don't know
Asuka.
why. Something really bugs me about WrestleMania. Like, we literally just come off WrestleMania. Like, maybe
Yeah.
give it a little bit of time, for fuck's
Here's
sake.
all the
Sorry.
same matches again. But yeah, so we had that match again, and Rhea Ripley retained via a no contest because Charlotte Flair went cray cray. We had an episode of Alexa's Playground that should have summed up everything that we knew and hated about what happened at WrestleMania, and it did not do that. It just made us hate it even more. We had Miz TV. That's right, Miz TV. Not the dirt sheet this week. It was Miz TV with special guest, Miz's wife, Maurice, for some reason. Yeah. We had a 2-on-1 handicap match with Damian Priest taking on Miz and Morrison for some reason. And
Because let's just ruin them.
yeah, although they did pick up the win, Anthony. It was via hijinks, but they did pick up the win.
That's the bit we'll talk about it, but that's the bit that bugs me. It was via fucking hijinks.
Oh yeah, of course, because Damian Priest pretty much had it won himself, which negates the whole Bad Bunny involvement in the first place. But yeah, that's cool. We had Nia and Shayna taking on Mandy and Dana Rose, and this was the worst thing ever. And you've sent me a rant from some guy on Bubba Dudley's show that I can't remember who it is, but he was so correct in his take on this shit show.
The anger out of him was just boss.
So,
anyone who's intrigued, listen to Busted Open Radio for this week, because for last week now for anyone listening. But yeah, his rant is it's something else, and it's quite true with the way they fucking booked this shit.
Very justified, and me and Anthony like to rant ourselves, but I don't think we can do that any justice. So I will rant, but it will not be at that level. So please check theirs out. Also, we also had the New Day taking on Elias and Jackson Riker for some reason, with New Day picking up the win.
Okay.
We had an episode of Firefly Funhouse. Bray Wyatt is back. Okay. And the main event of the evening, probably the only saving grace of the show, was Drew McIntyre took on Braun Strowman and Randy Orton in a triple threat contest to decide who Bobby Lashley would face at not just Backlash, but WrestleMania Backlash. I can't wait for WrestleMania SummerSlam and WrestleMania Royal Rumble. So, yeah, Drew McIntyre picked up the win and became our number one contender again. Did we want to see it again so soon? I don't know, but he should have won it in the first place. So,
I'm actually annoyed that we don't do rematches, but he can still jump into any number one contender title match to earn his place again. Like, so I mean, Drew in no way drops down the pecking order. Like, I know you love Drew, but legit, why was he in this match?
I mean, to be
fair,
he
had his turn.
What
to the back of the fucking queue.
What happened with the whole rematch clause thing? Like, have they officially dropped that, or have they just forgotten?
That's what I'd heard. I mean, it's WWE. They probably forgot that rule a while ago. I don't know.
It doesn't make sense why he would have to compete to earn his right if he has a rematch.
Also, I mean, we had a women's title rematch.
Well, exactly.
Like earlier in the card, so maybe they don't give a shit.
Consistency in booking, if only.
Also, you can slap legs again now, but no, you can't. Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big
Who
sense that
knows?
you can't, but you can sometimes.
They've changed it now. You can't slap your own leg.
You know what? I would love it if someone just took the absolute piss and went over and super kicked someone in silence, went over and slapped the referee's leg just afterwards. It'd be great. But Anthony, let's kick off with the highlights of Raw, and there's not many, so we'll breeze through them. So I liked the promos from the guys leading up to the triple threat match. MVP is a good promo. Drew McIntyre is a good promo. Orton is a good promo. Hell, Braun Strowman was okay.
No, I draw the line there.
He was all right. He didn't chew. He didn't run around. He didn't just go.
Did he go?
"Raw." Well, exactly. He didn't do that. So for me, that's
Okay.
up in my estimation. But it kind of got me invested in the main event. And the main event itself was pretty damn good, and it was one of the only bright spots on the whole show, unfortunately. But it was bright nonetheless. And a small side note, and the only other highlight I've got is it's nice to see the Viking Raiders back.
Yeah, they could
They've
be
been
something.
out
They
for a
could be
while. They've
something.
been out injured, and it's nice to see them back in a non-silly comedy angle. And I was dreading them coming back and being like, oh, you're attractive, but not you, to the guy who is slightly more attractive, if that is a thing. I don't really know. But yeah, so we didn't get that.
Just
We just got them back
wait
doing
for it.
normal. So
Wait
yeah.
for it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's
They'll
coming.
be they'll be in a program with the
For
New
this
Day,
week,
and then
for
we'll have
this week,
the Viking Day or something. It's gonna happen again.
like, oh, let's play basketball. It's like, no,
Damn you!
not again.
It's gonna
So
be. I guarantee this will happen at some point. They're gonna end up in a program with the New Day, right? And Eric or Ivar, whoever it is gonna have to he's gonna come out playing like some sort of Viking horn as like a parallel to the fucking trombone.
and
That's
they'll
what's
have
gonna
like
happen
they'll
because
have
they
a
fucking
trombone versus Viking horn off, and yeah,
yeah.
it'd be great. And
They'll
like
have a-
Ivar just is there throwing fucking meat steaks, and Kofi's there throwing pancakes. Yeah, it'd be
Yeah,
great. Um,
yeah.
everyone will love
It's all
that.
there. That's all ready to be
Everyone
made.
will love that. But let's go quick and heavy into the O'Shites, Anthony, and basically the show, all of the show. So it
The
kicked
whole
off.
fucking show.
Lashley comes out fresh off his fucking, retaining the WWE title, dressed like fucking Jim Carrey from Dumb and Dumber in a bright orange suit. All it was missing was the ruffles and a cane. We could have just borrowed MVPs. Comes off, and then Riddle comes out, stoned off his ass on his little scooter, and like literally, I saw something this week on Reddit. So it probably more applies to next week's Raw, but just to Riddle in general. Riddle's gimmick is that fucking annoying kid from Home Alone who's like, it's like, so, do they have this in France? Do they have that in France? You guys going to be this? Is it warm there? And that is Riddle, right? I've not found a more accurate depiction of what his gimmick currently is. And that's all this was. He's riding around on his scooter, chatting shit. Lashley's like, I'm not going to fight you. And then he says one thing too many, and then we end up, getting them fighting each other. We got a match. One-sided as fuck. Didn't benefit Riddle in the slightest.
I'm
Didn't
actually
benefit
wondering who
Lashley in the
Riddle's
slightest.
pissed off recently. He's got just straight up kicked in the face at Mania, which was
Mm-hmm.
still probably one of the best matches of the night, and got totally dominated in this match with Lashley. So I don't know. He's not in favour anymore for someone who's just had the US title. It's a bit fucking weird.
Yeah, I don't know honestly what has happened there. I believe he's still quite over. The rumor was he never should have won the US title. It was because Keith Lee wasn't available, and that's the reason. But still, he's being booked pretty shit. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
who knows?
How do you book him? No, I
Um,
know Vince fans are amusing, but how do you book a stoner?
I mean, it worked alright for RBD. He ended up getting the fucking championships and stuff. So
I don't know. The
it's
trouble is,
doable.
RBD was a wrestler who happened to be a stoner. And I feel like Riddle's more of a stoner who happens to wrestle.
Okay, I'd change my mind. That is the best depiction of Riddle's character. So true. You're just like, bro, I can, wrestle too, bro. Yeah, perfect. So, no idea.
Interestingly, not
He's
to
obviously pissed someone
digress,
off.
but I found this interesting that Riddle's entrance music is still a CFO track. Did you know that?
See, they're doing some weird stuff with that at the minute because obviously, Seth Rollins has still got his as well. That's come back, hasn't it?
Well, you
So,
see, certain ones I was like, it makes sense to me. Like Rollins, like Well, Rollins' new theme actually wasn't bad. It was one of the better ones that Def Rebel made before they started repeating themselves. Like, oh, that worked really well for Rollins. Should we just slightly change the tempo and do the same for Bailey? Yeah, fuck it, why not? But nevertheless, like certain ones, you go, all right, they're gonna have to keep the CFO track. Like AJ Styles is a prime example. That's a CFO track, and you go, well, that is synonymous with AJ. You can't not use that, right?
I don't know. I don't want none.
I mean, you're looking scared.
No, I don't want
none. So, I kind of get it with some, but you go, so you're having to pay license to somebody to keep Riddle's music. That's weird.
Right.
I mean, maybe I don't fully understand what the deal is there with the old CFO tracks, but surely, like the motivation in moving everyone over, like they made a point of changing Keith Lee's one, which was a lot more iconic. Right, Riddle's is just like a stone rant a minute, right? And like they had to change Keith Lee, but they didn't change Riddle. I just find that I don't understand the mentality with the music.
Maybe they've like struck some kind of deal or something. Who knows?
To be honest, I think we need a segment on this in its entirety because I feel like the music side of WWE is very fucking lacking these days.
Bring back Jim Johnson. That's all I'm saying.
Bring back Jim Johnson. Jim Johnson understood. He understood that the music and the theme, like the entrance theme, was an important part of the character building, and not just we have a generic metal tune. You want to use that? Yeah. There you go, Alistair. Crack on.
I mean, to be fair, I've got a different show, but I've got to give props to Mikey Ruckus as well. He's done a pretty good job in AEW. But yeah, I definitely think CFOs have had some good stuff come out. Def Rebel, not so much. And I do feel like it feels, when at a time when new characters are more generic than ever, they really don't need entrance themes that are more generic than ever either.
So, because to be honest, part of me doesn't, as petty as this sounds, part of me doesn't want to like CFO stuff because I prefer the Jim Johnson of old. He did every Undertaker theme, fucking ace, right? But when you look at CFO and you go, well, the Sasha Banks music was them, Seth Rollins' original music was them, AJ's was them. You go, yeah, they did do some really good stuff. So I can't knock them. There was some really good stuff that tied into those characters. I've yet to see that with Def Rebel.
Yeah, agreed. So basically, one of the O'Shites is the music.
Sorry, yes, we were talking about Raw.
We're talking about Raw. And another O'Shite, Anthony. So I know I praised the promos of MVP and Drew and Orton and even Braun to a degree, but on the whole, the promos were awful this week. And I think the reason it stood out to me is it was such a difference from when they had to call it on the fly at Mania. So like the rain delay, and they went backstage. People just asked, fill some time, talk for a minute or two about something. It felt so much better. Like if you look at like Rhea Ripley on Raw, like was she reading off a cue card? Because she wasn't looking at the camera, she wasn't looking at the interviewer, she was looking off in the distance, and it was wooden as fuck. And she wasn't the only one. There was a lot of people in promos that it just felt like they were just trying to remember lines, and it was awful. To be fair,
I know. Isn't it a good job that they can still cut because they don't rely on them to do it anymore? It's a good job they can still cut promos because when you land with shit like that and you go, well, Seth Rollins is a good talker, so we're going to give him some time to go on a rant. That worked, and like you say, it was organic, and it just reminded me of wrestling of old. To be honest,
well, that's it.
The good old days.
To be fair, you've got to look at who they actually gave the mic time to during the rain delay, and it's obviously the people who can cut a promo and who have charisma. And that's not me shitting on Rhea Ripley because I'm sure she does, but we've seen it with Drew McIntyre. He's able to cut a fantastic promo, but there's still times he gets some stuff thrown at him and scripted. So.
I think you've called it a few times when Drew has clearly been scripted because they're like, oh, get in like Claymore countdown, say something like that, and you can tell when they've scripted him because he's trying to get certain catchphrases in and buzzwords that they want to push. It's too controlled now. It is way too controlled, and these are writers who, they're obviously. They know what to do in a writing point of view. They must have the credentials to be doing the job, but wrestling is a different animal. You can't do that. You can't work it the same way.
Agreed.
Wooden as fuck. Wooden as fuck.
And speaking of wooden as fuck, but still, what a shit payoff, right? I was fuming about The Fiend, as you will know if you saw the watch along. Anthony was too. I think we were both very perplexed on what exactly transpired, and we thought maybe they'll clear it up on Raw. Did they fuck, right? Nope. What is this payoff? So the payoff is Alexa learnt everything she needed to know from the Fiend, and now she's just become the Fiend character. Meanwhile, the Fiend is now just Bray Wyatt again. That's what I gathered from it, from
And
everything.
also,
She's got
like
like a little teddy now, isn't she, called something?
Lily or something in it.
Lily. And
Like, I don't want to think too much about this, right? Because, kayfabe and all that bollocks, but like, how did she learn anything from Bray? He got burnt and disappeared for like 3 or 4 months. She was
that
by
is true.
herself for ages.
That is true. So yeah, I don't understand it. I don't think they understand it. They've obviously just shit the bed with it and gone, well, what's the payoff? I don't know. Like, I mean, the whole finish didn't even make sense at WrestleMania anyway, so I can't even begin to try and justify it. But I thought that maybe they would try and, do something to make sense of it, and it hasn't been the case.
Yeah,
So
well, it's like, I don't get why they didn't give him the win over Randy Orton. Months and months and months out, all this build up to getting some revenge for the burn them alive
hmm
thing, and he takes an RKO and a quick pin. And that's it.
yep.
And are they going to revisit it? Probably not now.
Well, yeah, probably not now. So who knows? Maybe we'll get Fiend versus Alexa one day. Maybe it's just done. Who knows?
Feet
Um,
just lies down. He's like, pin me.
God, I would. Um, not I would pin him. I would lie down. That would be a whole different level, I think. Okay, Fiend. Whoa, get off me. So yeah, not good at all. Speaking of not good at all, The Miz in his undies. Why? Why do we have to see this? What did that achieve? So we had a 2-on-1 match that didn't make any sense anyway. And then Priest had pretty much, dominated the whole match anyway, which proved that
Yeah,
Bad Bunny didn't
because
even need to be there at Mania.
well,
And
it's
then it's
funny
like,
because of
well,
it, clearly the Miz and John Morrison are shit wrestlers, aren't they? So you're gonna put Damian Priest over and be able to dominate the pair of them single handedly. That's naturally what you do because neither of them are any good in the ring. They're both a bit shit, aren't they?
I mean, yeah, that must be the reasons, except for the fact that that isn't true at all, right?
No, it's
Um,
not. John, like I'll give the Miz credit for his ability in the ring. He's come on so much since he first joined the WWE.
do you
But
know,
John Morrison as well,
yeah,
fantastic. How the fuck can you book it where they don't even look even legitimately like a threat? It's
honestly,
unreal.
the only thing I could think of is obviously we saw Miz post that he's been working on his physique. Maybe he just wanted to show off his physique more on telly, but it's like, well, you could just
Maybe
wear your
Damien wants to get
normal
him in the hot tub.
wrestling ability, mate. That is also true. Um, you heard it here first. Priest had plans. That's all I was saying. Um,
Not like this.
just take a drink. It's fine. Um, but yeah, so weird shit. And speaking of weird shit, Anthony, like I've already said, I can't top the fume that Busted Open Radio guy had. So I won't try.
Stop the
But
fume though.
basically, what the fuck was this shit with Nia Jax and Mandy Rose? Like, we get it, right? Mandy Rose slipped on the entrance ramp at WrestleMania. We all know about it. Ha ha ha. It's since been edited out of the fucking WrestleMania replay, by the way. So makes perfect sense why they're making a big storyline off it. But anyway,
It's not
that
a
aside,
storyline. WWE. If something funny happens, laugh.
yeah, that's it.
That's all you
Not
need to
not
do.
turn everything into its
Okay,
own
now.
fucking angle. But even so, how is this an angle anyway? So we have Nia Jax coming out and she trips on the rope and they're like, ha ha ha. And then she goes
Yeah.
to climb up onto the apron later on in the match and she slips and bangs her head. And they're like, nah. And it's like, what is this fucking shit? What am I watching? Between this and between the fucking Braun Strowman train shit, like, this is awful.
Honestly, I'm just relieved they didn't have sound effects for when she fell over.
Like, I mean, yet. That's all I'm saying. Maybe like that fucking slip sound effect, that oh, or whatever it is. Not that, but
Yeah,
the actual one.
yeah,
Not me
yeah.
doing Liu Kang's fucking kick out of Mortal Kombat.
Nice.
But yeah, an actual sound effect. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't get this. I don't get what it was trying to fucking achieve. It was awful. They tried to play off something that was just an accidental botch, and as you've already said, you can't
What I
make a
don't
segment
get
off
is
something
like
like that.
we've already done the Nia Jax falls over thing with the infamous my whole thing.
hmm
So like at this point, are we not just booking her as a clumsy fucker?
Yeah, no idea. No idea. And
Like
I think
it's
that is the
so weird.
same as the Raw writing staff, to be fair, because they've got no fucking idea either. So,
No.
all in all, Anthony, this whole show was shit. The only redeemable quality was the main event, and even that was okay. So, for me, it gets a 0.5 out of 5. Terrible, terrible show. And for a post Mania Raw as well, Anthony, how good some of my fondest memories of a Raw are in the post-Mania Raw. I always go on about Dolph Ziggler cashing in. Fantastic. I always go on about the different returns. Paige, for example, winning the Divas Championship off AJ. Lovely stuff happens. This, horrendous. 0.5, shit.
You know what? I'm with you. I'm with you on 0.5. I'd have probably give this on a normal week. I'd have probably give this a better rating, right? But the fact that it's a post-Mania Raw, and like you say, that this just really showed you just how much. Like normally, this is where all the aftermath is, isn't it? Something shocking happens, and crazy happens. Titles change hands, and this is where all the aftermath lands. What do we get? A couple of rematches and stupid skit with a stoner sound. Like,
pretty much.
What was this? The fuck was all of this? Bobby Lashley, right, went from WrestleMania dominating Drew, right, to the point that Drew passed out, and then we get what do we get? Oh yeah, let's just have a match against Riddle for Riddle scootering into him or whatever the fuck it was. I can't even remember how we upset him now. Said sort of asked too many questions. Whatever it was.
Talking, I think it was. Yeah,
he
asked him too many questions.
Like that was the aftermath you had of that match. Like that happened at Mania, right? All right, we had Drew trying to get a number one contenders shot again or whatever, which I still take slight umbrage to. But yeah, I don't get it. Wouldn't this be the third rematch Drew's had now? Well, the third match. Sorry, the third match because he lost it. He lost it. Had a rematch. Now he wants another one.
Yeah.
I'm actually The more I think about it, Carl, the more I'm actually even more annoyed that it was a triple threat now. Fuck off, Drew.
Well, I mean, actually, technically, it's only a second because he didn't lose it to Bobby, did he? He lost it to Miz.
He lost it though.
He did lose it.
Like for some reason, he never got a rematch against the Miz, right?
Yeah, or Bobby.
Because
conspiracy gets Sami Zayn. Where's Sami Zayn when you need him?
Hey. So, but yeah, 0.5 for me as well.
Yeah, shit show, 100%. Speaking of shit shows,
well, it's a shit show.
Can't use that anymore. Talking about WWE TV.
Sorry. Shall we talk about NXT?
If we must.
Okay. So, as far as the card goes, Carl, we open, like taking a leaf out of SmackDown's book, they open with the current NXT champion cutting a promo. Because why not?
Original.
Bit weak sauce as well, to be honest, but we'll talk about that. Then, first match of the night, we have MSK going up against the combination of Maverick and Dane for the tag titles, with MSK retaining and taking the win. We saw Mercedes Martinez going up against Jessie Kamea, with Mercedes Martinez taking the win. We saw Santos Escobar going up against Kushida in a shock victory that I'm still not sure how I feel about it, but we'll talk about that some more. With Kushida taking the win. He took the win. So, we then had a Raquel Gonzalez and Frankie Monet. I think the only way I can explain it is like a stare down and then a nice moment where all the title holders embrace. But we'll talk about that because that does fall into my highlights. But essentially, we're hinting at some potential feuds going forward, which is good, right? We then had Leon Ruff going up against Isaiah Swerve in an I Don't Care match, with Isaiah Swerve taking the win. We had the main event of the night, Carl. I'd be curious to know how you feel about this, so we'll talk about this some more shortly as well. But we had the combination of Dexter Lumis, Bronson Reed, Ember Moon, and Shotzi Blackheart going up against Johnny Gargano's, or The Way, all of them lot. No way. With Lumis, Reed, Moon, and Blackheart taking the win. And that was the whole card. That was the entire thing, Carl. Mm-hmm. So as far as highlights go, so I mentioned Mercedes Martinez had a match against Jessie Kamea and won in quite decisive fashion. Part of that post-match shenanigans made it very clear that Mercedes Martinez is very much looking towards Raquel Gonzalez for the title match. So Mercedes is no longer part of the Robert Stone brand and is heading toward, or wants to head towards the main title scene. And to be honest, I think that would be a great first feud for Gonzalez. And I say that in a way where I already kind of know what I want the result to be, because I don't want it to lose to her. But I'm all for that. I think it's a good way of cutting your teeth as the champ.
But will Frankie Monet get in her way? That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's the thing, because that we've had this Gonzalez Frankie Monet moment, so it makes you think, well, like you say. It's not necessarily the way it's going to be, but I'm intrigued as to where the women's title scene is going to go, which is good. So speaking of the women's title scene, Carl, my next highlight is I gotta go with it, and this is one of them blatant like let's embrace the moment kind of things. Like they definitely did it for the views, but we had Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley come out and embrace with Raquel Gonzalez. So they all had a nice little moments in the ring. Obviously, they all came up from NXT. They all, I believe, debuted at the Mae Young Battle Royal. So like they've all sort of come up together in a way, and just that nice little moment where they all embrace and they all hold the titles in the air. I thought, as cheesy and deliberate as it was, I thought it was a good moment. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I think I would have enjoyed it. I think they were trying to emulate the stuff that happened with the Click all them years ago. And it's like, but they're not the Click. They're just people who happen to come up together. Like they're not best buds. Do you know what I mean? There's no
No, they've
real.
never even hinted at them being best buds.
Yeah,
So
it just kind of came out of nowhere. It's like, well, we're all NXT and we're all champions, and it's like, cool, but like you haven't brought anyone else who's like Riddle, for example. He wasn't there with his US
no.
title when he had.
The NXT is the new Click, though. Yeah, I take your point.
Well,
But
based on Triple H's new fucking logo for the show, yeah, let's put a skull on it. Yeah.
let's put a skull on it. That's Triple H's solution to everything. Put a skull on it. And that's what'll happen when he takes over the whole damn thing. WWE logo will have a skull on it. Right, so my next highlight, Carl, is the main event itself. Daft as fuck, but it was good fun, and a bit different for a main event. And I'm not going to say it was like really progressive storyline wise or particularly engaging in a technical sense. It's just a bit chaotic and a bit daft and a bit fun. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was definitely daft. I think the fact it was the main event, like if this would have been anywhere else on the card, I probably would have liked it more. But it just felt a bit too silly
Yeah,
to
to
be
close the
closing out the
night out.
show.
Yeah, it's a bit. Yeah, I take your point on that. I do take your point on that.
Yeah, it was alright though, to be fair.
Yeah. I mean, last highlight, Carl, I'm going to call it a highlight because I have been a bit up and down about this, was Kushida with the surprise win. And the reason I think it's a highlight is because I didn't fucking see that coming. And that's probably a good thing. And he should. They've built him really well since he come back. And he should be a title holder. And let's face it, Escobar's running out of people to feud with anyway. But because they made it such a strong point, like he's now the undisputed IC title or whatever the fuck they call him, and they've been like very strong on him, and he's like, yeah, I've definitely won this, I'm the best, blah blah blah. I just didn't see the win coming. He'd just come off Takeover where he'd defended successfully and became I want to say undisputed, unified, whatever you want to call it, IC title holder. IC, why do I keep saying that? Cruiserweight title holder. So the shock factor sort of threw me a little bit. I'm like, is this a good thing? But the more I think about it, the more I think it probably was, and I think it's a great move for Kushida. Whether I enjoyed that or not, you know what I mean. I think him being a title holder and seeing where he's going to go with it is probably a really good idea. So it's a highlight, Dammy. I'm assuming you feel a similar way.
I would agree. I think based on, I think it was more of a shock than anything, based on the whole, oh, we're going to unify the title and blah blah blah. I thought they were going to go, do something a bit more with him. But then to just have Kushida win it, I was just like, oh shit. So yeah, for me,
oh shit,
oh
damn,
shit. That's whack, yo. So yeah,
So that's my highlights, Carl. Moving into O'Shites, I sort of have two, which isn't bad for NXT. The first one is Karrion Kross because, well, that promo was a bit shit, and to me, it echoes the possibility that maybe they don't know what they're going to do with him, to be honest.
I think that's been his problem the whole time in NXT, to be fair.
I don't think he's an NXT guy. I think this is the problem. I think the sooner he goes to SmackDown or Raw, the better, because they've made him dominate everyone. And now you go, well, who realistically is going to feud with him next that we're going to enjoy? And I can't think of anyone. And he's going to come out this week and cut a nameless promo about being like legally ready or whatever. And it's like, yeah, you probably are, generic promo guy. I don't know. I wasn't overly sold on it. And I'm like, I want to like him, but just something about it didn't sit well with me, man.
Yeah, it's weird because I think I've spoken before. I think Carrion and Scarlett are a fantastic package. I think Carrion on his own, can be a bit bland. And I think Scarlett, as much as I like her,
Scarlett.
yeah, like he needs her, but even I don't think she is like, she's not Paul Heyman in the best way in some in some senses.
Yeah.
But in other senses,
yeah, I can't imagine as many scenarios where you're like, I'm sorry, love, but Paul Heyman.
Exactly. But yeah, I don't know. I think like she can't carry him on the mic. Can't carry him. Can't carry him.
Which he's been carrying his whole career.
Read some like roast battle kind of shit. But yeah, I don't know. It's a shame because he just doesn't belong there. He's too big for everyone in NXT, and yeah, it's just they've dropped the ball with him a couple of times now. Like I know he got injured once and after winning the title, but when he came back, it was just like meh, meh, meh. Now he's champion.
Would you be at all upset, right? Honestly, answer me this honestly, Carl. Would you be at all upset, right, if we get to Smackdown this week? I'll say this week, not the one we're going to talk about. And show closes, Scarlett comes out, leaves the hourglass there for Roman. Would you be at all upset with that?
I think it
other
could
than
work.
the fact he's NXT title holder.
Well, yeah,
we'll get rid of that little hiccup, right?
I think
would you be at all upset with that?
Except for the fact that he's also a heel. So you'd be booking a heel versus heel. You'd have to do something to.
I think Carrion could come in face, I don't even think they'd need to do a big change. He's just a dominant, aggressive guy. I don't think he's even particularly a heel at the moment. He's just like it might just be me because I'm not a big fan of Balor at the minute, but who was the face in that scenario? I don't even know anymore.
Well, yeah, I think it was meant to be Balor, but we're just a bit like we're a bit over him, aren't we? So
yeah. So yeah, I take your point on that, but I think the transition into face wouldn't even be that difficult. I think all he'd have to do is just rock up on SmackDown and go for Roman, and I think he'd automatically be the face. I don't think he's been heely enough for it to be a problem, Because you could sell it. Imagine selling it on that. It's just like he's just gone after the people he's gone after. It's nothing personal. It wouldn't. It'd still work. It wouldn't be a problem.
Okay, if you say so.
You could still have him lose the belt quite quickly. To Balor again, fuck it, why not? And we'll crack on with some real title matches,
True that.
Joking, of course. I love NXT and everything about it. But what I didn't love this week, Carl, was Ruff, Leon Ruff and Isaiah Swerve. Why is this still a thing?
I mean,
it has to be no shite because just end it now. Just finish the fucking feud. I feel like I've seen this 100 times. I don't even know how many times I've seen it. I feel like I'm always fucking seeing it. Just let it go. Let it go. You both suck. They don't. That's harsh. But just let it go. I'm done with the feud now. Move on to other things.
See, this is when we need a soundbite from Frozen, isn't it? To be fair.
Nice. It's all soundbites now. We need some more soundbites.
Well, we've got a glorious soundbite to still use. Like that's ready and it's active. There's just nothing glorious.
This is the thing, guys. You just don't know about it, but we have got that soundbite, but nothing glorious has fucking happened.
One of these days, you'll just hear it and be like, "What the fuck is that?" And then you'll know.
Indeed. So that was NXT, Carl. They were the only two gripes I had. As much as I'm like, it was pretty good show, and I only had two gripes. It's still very middle of the road. Like there was a lot of matches that happened, and it's like, yeah, they were decent, but they weren't really. And this is what again I always feel with NXT, that like in terms of storytelling, it's like, has anything really progressed or developed? Not really. So it's still kind of lacking in that sense, but solid middle of the road, 2.5 from me. It was all right. It was a good week.
So I've got it down as a 2, and I think the main differentiator between our ratings probably is just I was a little bit more annoyed at the fact the main event was the main event. That's literally all I can think about.
I think because I think we can both agree it was a decent enough match, but like I do take your point that it probably shouldn't have been sat there.
Yeah, so it's one of them, and also I felt like the whole women's bit was a bit like a bit too in your face, not organic.
It's okay. We're gonna do some more celebrating on SmackDown,
if you insist. So let's move on to the Superior Wednesday night show, Anthony.
Okay.
It was a fucking good episode, I think. I'm keen to hear your thoughts. But the card consisted of a cold open from the Young Bucks. Young Bucks are bad now. They're so bad.
Weren't they bad anyway?
Well,
I
now
can't
they're
keep track of these two.
now they're super bad. Not Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford super bad, but super bad nonetheless.
Like bad quality.
Yeah, they're just bad all round performers.
Imagine that being changing gimmick. We just don't know what we're doing in the ring anymore. We are bad. We are
Isn't
bad at this.
isn't that you know, TJ, what's his face? Something Marshall? QT Marshall's gimmick?
QT Marshall,
He's
savage.
so irrelevant. I just can't even remember his fucking name. I always go TJ and it's
Is
QT.
it TJ Marshall?
Yeah, damn it.
QT Peg.
Yeah,
Who is
someone
he?
like that. So there was that. We had MJF and Mike Tyson having a bit of a verbal exchange, which is everything everybody has ever wanted, really.
Yeah.
We opened the
Well,
show.
Mike's known for his talking, so that's good.
Yeah, exactly. We opened the show with the first match of the tag titles on the line. Young Bucks taking on Death Triangle, with Young Bucks picking up the win. We had Red Velvet taking on Jade Cargill in somewhat of a rematch, with Jade Cargill proving to be victorious again. Britt Baker cut a promo.
Victorious.
Britt Baker talks. And she did, and it was good, and I liked it. We got to see the in-ring debut of Anthony Ogogo, the British boxer, as he took on a guy called Cole Carter, and made pretty short work of him with an interesting finish, which we'll talk about. Chris Jericho took on Dax Harwood randomly, with special enforcer Mike Tyson at ringside, with Jericho getting the win. We see an interview with Don
Ironically,
Callis.
calling him an enforcer when he can't say it.
That's not nice. We had Don
To the whole of
Callis
the country, what's he going to do?
and the club being interviewed, and they tease an upcoming surprise, Anthony. More surprises, damn it. We get a
Yay.
video package. Thunder Rosa wants Serena Deeb. She wants her bad. So maybe we'll get that match again eventually. Chris Statlander is back. She took on Amber Nova and picked up the win. Team Taz gives an update. They're still fine. But
We're fine. Who's
we're still
fine?
fine. We're fine. But yeah,
It's
so
gonna hurt
basically
tomorrow.
they're not fine. So he actually tells Starks and Cage to stay backstage. So it's like, okay. Christian Cage speaks, kinda, but not really. And the main event, we got to see the TNT title on the line, Darby Allin defending against Matt Hardy, with Darby Allin picking up the win and retaining his belt, much to your pleasure, Anthony. So the highlights,
Couldn't be
the
happier.
whole fucking show, if I'm honest. So, whole opening, I thoroughly enjoyed. Tyson MJF, thought that was really good. MJF writing him a blank check and then him tearing it up to trying to eat it. And like Mike Tyson is gold in all the worst ways, but all the best ways at the same time. So yeah, he fucked everything up, but I loved it. It was fantastic. We then go into the opener with the Young Bucks defending against Death Triangle, and I can't talk, enough about how talented Pac and Ray Phoenix are. These two are great, and you know what? I talk a lot of shit about the Young Bucks, but it just turns out that they are significantly better as heels, actual heels this time. Because it makes sense why I hate them so much, because they are heels. They were heels all
Yeah.
along.
It makes sense that I hate them.
But the whole thing with the low blow, taking off Ray Phoenix's mask, they're just absolute bastards now. And also, they reminded me a little bit of old school HBK, and I think he's a twat, so that also helped.
Yeah. Trouble with
Um,
HBK is it wasn't a gimmick.
yeah, that was just him. Until the Young Bucks find God, we're okay for a bit.
Is that going to be the next one?
Probably. So my next highlight was just a short segment with the Dark Order and Hangman Page. So I just love these guys together. I always have. Hangman is the number one
Let's make it
contender.
official. Come on.
He's the number one contender. And I just can't wait until it happens. I don't know when it's going to be. I don't think it might be as soon as Double or Nothing. They might, prolong it a little bit. But I love the fact that they're talking about it and bringing it to our attention. And that is the money match to see Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. There's so much history there. I can't wait for it, but I kind of want to, because I want them to build it up
You're
nicely.
practically salivating here.
I am a little bit. I'm spitting everywhere. But yeah, so excited about that. And obviously Johnny Hungy, just a shout out to him as well. Just thought he was really good, and the stuff about his shoulder and selling all
I
that as
love,
well.
I love the note. I know people can't see the notes, but it literally just says shoulder stuff.
That's all you need to know. If you've seen the show, it's all about the
Quality.
shoulder stuff. yeah, obviously he selling the injury and stuff like that, and the fact that he can't compete and things. So just in the best Johnny Hungy way that you can possibly imagine. So all that's good. Britt Baker continues to impress, I thought. She's now going to build up her wins on Dark and on Elevation because she wants the belt. And you know what? Fair play. Like she hasn't got the best win-loss record, but she's over. So she knows, she's kind of given the rankings a bit of legitimacy, which it hasn't had for a while, and saying,
Yeah,
I've got to
and
build
I
my wins
like the
up.
fact that like they can push the other shows using that, going, well, I need to build my stats up, so I'm going to appear on those other shows. It just, like you say, it kind of makes the ratings make sense.
Yeah.
It justifies it when they rock up with much higher wins than they used to have.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
they were clearly on the other shows.
And it's also good that they've used Britt Baker for this. Obviously, she is a heel, and she's saying, "I'm going to have to take a step down to the bad shows just to build my win record up against some nobodies in order to be able to compete for the belt." And that's exactly the kind of thing a heel would do. Like she's always on the money with what her character is saying and the reasons behind it. So this was no
Definitely.
different. Thoroughly
Yeah.
enjoyed it. Now, I'm keen to get your thoughts on the next one, Anthony. Anthony Agogo made his long anticipated debut. The match itself was short and sweet, but interestingly, he won the match via TKO after he threw a boxing punch to the stomach, and the referee determined, do you know what? He can't continue. Any thoughts
Didn't
on it?
like it. Didn't like it.
Yeah, I didn't think you would, to be fair. I think for me, it was different enough that I liked it. I felt the execution was poor, because it didn't even look like he hit him that hard. But I think,
It's like they did Jake Paul versus Askren, like before Jake Paul versus Askren with this shit.
he took a dive. Damn it.
He definitely took a dive.
Yeah, 100%. You can see him
So
laughing
not
at
to
the referee.
digress, but he fucking blatantly stood up, and the ref's like, "No, no, it's a TKO, it's a TKO." He's like, he's ready to go. What the fuck are you doing?
Mm, yeah, it's definitely a payoff.
But
I
I
can't
think
wait.
we the only losers here were us, the audience, because they all walked away with fucking literal bags of cash.
Hmm.
Might as well have fucking all strutted away with giant bags with dollar signs on it. They're absolute money grabbing cunts. Anyway, let's talk about wrestling.
Anyway, so yeah, it was a controversial finish, I thought, but at the same time, I like that they're trying something different. I think it makes sense for him as a
Uh,
boxer to, to do something like that,
nah,
whether it's a knockout or a TKO or something. It's
I'm just
different.
yeah, I'm just trying to enjoy my wrestling, and I'm like, you got boxing in my wrestling. You ruined it.
I
Don't
mean,
like it.
nothing went wrong the last time that happened, Vince Russo. But
Look,
anyway,
we all remember Butterbean, and that was fucking funny, right?
yeah, exactly.
But I don't. This was just like, oh, he's debuted in AEW. We're gonna have a match, but then like boxing, like nah, no, no. Can you
Okay,
even have TAKOs? TAKOs?
you
Wait,
you
where
can't have TKOs.
TKOs
You can have
in?
Tekken Keikos. Um,
Can you have RKOs in wrestling?
I think so, potentially. Um,
Like, don't you
yeah.
have to pin them?
You just
The
don't
fuck was
get it,
this?
Anthony. It was just too, it was just too advanced
Uh,
for you.
too
Your
edgy
tiny
and mean.
little brain. Um, no,
Shit is what it was.
all that potentially, but I liked it, and I like shit. So there you go. Next one, Miro. Miro, he's here. He's fucking here, Anthony. Kip is fucked off at least for the foreseeable.
And
He's
they
here.
say
Miro
that
wants
Miro can
the.
save us.
Oh, that's so good. That is actually just fucking brilliant. Do you know what?
It's ready. It's ready to be there. It's ready to be his
You are
theme.
just the gift that keeps on giving on this show, Anthony. You really are. It's also a shirt that right there. That's such a shirt.
You've
Um,
also got I need a Miro. Um,
I
any
can
other
be your
ones?
Miro baby, and just
Are they all there? Yeah,
mis
that's three
mis
shirts there, straight out the gate.
mispronounce words like Enrique Iglesias. Standard. Um, But yeah, so I'm happy. Miro, he got a lot of shit when he went to AEW. Like, I thought AEW meant to utilize talent better. And I can't disagree, to be fair. He was put in some weird tag team feud for a bit, which did deliver on some occasions, but mostly was very underwhelming. So it's good to see him, finally breaking away from that, hopefully, and being a big force. There's loads of, potential matches for him to have, really, with some big and, even like him versus Brian Cage, for example. Like, who doesn't want to see that?
Yeah,
Big men
like
slapping meat.
I hate to agree with the people who love to hate AEW, but a point that keeps getting made that is definitely true is they need a second show. And I'm not talking about Dark or Elevation. They need a second show on the week because this is sort of the problem is like people like Miro deserve more attention, but we've already got so many sort of main event guys. Like Miro logically should squash Darby Allin, so even their mid card title shouldn't really be a Miro thing. Like, what the fuck do you do? It's we need more show and more attention. God damn it! But
Yeah, potentially.
how do you do that without like competing with another show and starting all that fucking shit again?
I mean, I think
They
they
didn't
will get
win.
it.
They didn't win.
They will get a second show. I think eventually, but I don't know. I think for Miro, you probably don't. And I know that you're just saying in general there's that much talent there, but like, I think Miro can do enough to get himself over and not have to kind of go after Darby or anything like that. But to have feuds with the likes of Brian Cage or with your kind of Lance Archers of the world and make that move towards the world title picture. Like it'd be great if they do Kenny Omega versus Hangman, and then whoever wins that, the next challenges Miro or something. That'd be interesting. But yeah, so I'm glad Miro is means business. And the final highlight I've got just Darby Allin, man, fucking ledge. Can you?
Where's me bullshit button? Have you set that one up yet?
Fuck off. Where's
Fucking
the
bullshit.
I don't like Darby? Just that on repeat button from you. He's a fucking ledge. Like you can't deny it. Every match he has, it's always fucking entertaining. And this was no different. Obviously, big money match. I'm still not a fan of, but that aside, the match itself was good. I enjoyed it. Maybe it wasn't the strongest main event. I'll give you that, but the match itself I thought was great. So you shut up. And then in terms of O'Shite, Anthony, I didn't really have any, if I'm perfectly
Darby
honest.
Allin, I had, yeah.
Yeah, fuck off. The only kind of thing I could probably say is I don't think they should have done Cargill and Velvet 2 again so soon and just as kind of like a throwaway match on a random episode of Dynamite. Because I've said this before, I don't know where Jade fits into this division. Like, if she wins the title off Sheeta, she's going to hold it for fucking ever because there's no one who's going to stand a chance. So, it's a bit of a weird one
Awesome
for her.
Kong rocks back up.
Maybe. So yeah, but even that wasn't a no shite. So look, for me, I'm giving it a 4 out of 5, Anthony. It got 1.22 million views, the best
Hear me out
fucking
here.
views it's had since it's debuted. I think it even reached 1.5 in one of the segments. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Going slightly back to Cargill though.
Mm.
Do you not think with this relationship they've got with Impact at the minute that they could potentially be pushing it towards a eventually retiring fucking name's totally gone out of my head. Thunder Rosa's mate.
Wow, Jazz?
Jazz, thank you. Jesus, don't know where that name went. Eventually retiring Jazz. Because that could be a nice little mashup before she retires, obviously.
I would see some stuff in that, except that she's had a retirement match. So no, I don't see that.
What, she's had it? I thought she was still doing a tag run.
No, she's done.
Damn, Impact.
Done now.
Okay,
But
mind, false alarm.
that would have been a great way to go out, though. I think putting over a future generation talent. Obviously, she's got a shed load of talent. She's she's got that raw ability. She's got the size. She's got the power. If she refines the fundamentals a bit, she could be a massive star. The problem I've got is where do you go with her in AEW? Because
this is why I went to Jazz in my head though, because it's that whole size and power thing of like Jazz was always like. She like when she was in WWE, she always struggled on the opponent front because she always kind of outsized a lot of the women in terms of her stature, But okay, fair enough. She's retired now. Whatever.
Okay,
I'll let it go.
enough.
I'll let it go.
So I'm giving it a 4, Anthony. How about you?
3.5.
Fine, I'll be 3.5. Stick it somewhere else.
Fine. Have your secrets.
Speaking of stick downs, Smackdown rounding off the week of wrestling, Anthony.
Of course. So let's talk about Smackdown. We open the night with a promo from Roman Reigns. Would you believe?
That's original Roman Reigns promo.
I know, fun. It's gonna get a 4 out of 5. We then had Rey Mysterio going up against Otis, with Rey Mysterio taking the win.
Does Otis speak? Because then it might get a 4 out of 5. It was just advertised as Otis speaks.
He gyrated for a bit. Is that,
Oh,
does that do anything for you?
Otis gyrates. Yeah, okay. Like it.
Yeah.
Like it.
We saw Kevin Owens going up against Sami Zayn because we didn't get enough of that at Mania.
We haven't seen
With
that
Kevin Owens.
enough.
Kevin Owens took the win there. We then had Bianca Belair coming out and celebrating with the Street Profits because fuck it, why not make it more annoying?
Did Montez Ford get enough screen time?
Oh, I don't know. He didn't actually because we had a match between the Street Profits and Ziggler and Rude, with thank fuck Ziggler and Rude taking the win and retaining the titles. We then had Natalya going up against Shayna Baszler, with surprisingly Natalya taking the win. I only say that surprisingly because they tend not to like to give her wins. So there you go.
Ooh.
And then we close the night off with Cesaro going up against Jey Uso, with Cesaro taking the win. Kind of. So, highlights, Carl, was Roman Reigns' promo at the beginning. And not so much because of the promo, it's the typical, and I'm not knocking him, but it was your typical Reigns promo at this point where it's like, he's the best, no one can stop him, blah, blah, blah. Heyman got to say a little bit, and you get to remember Heyman's actually fucking awesome on the mic. But what I really enjoyed was Cesaro coming out and getting in his face, because I'm excited for that as an idea. The end of the night may have ruined that a little bit, but the kickoff of the night, I'm going to give a highlight because it was good and it made me go, oh yeah, this is where we want to head with this title scene. What did you make of it, Carl? Because I know some people were a bit upset that Edge and Bryan just seem to not be around at all now.
Yeah, I wouldn't have it as a highlight, to be honest. I think.
Well, fucking hell.
Yeah, it just seemed a little bit like, well, I'm not going to give you the time of
Look,
day. I'm going to walk off.
I need to highlight some things, okay? Otherwise, I'd have no highlights. So
why don't you highlight how shit the show was, Anthony?
Jeez.
See, it's bored you even talking about it.
Honestly, I've got to get through this. So my next highlight, and my only other highlight, Carl, was the results of the tag match. For two reasons. I don't want the Street Profits to win. And I actually think Ziggler and Rude need to rack up a few legitimate wins and be more notable as the tag team hold. Like, they've been champs for ages, but you don't really remember them having many decent title defenses, and I don't understand that. I feel like they just kind of held them for ages. So, they kind of need more like this, where they're notable on SmackDown and they're getting some fairly decisive wins, because this was a good, clean heel win, and this is exactly what they need to do. But on top of that, I didn't want the Street Profits to win, so all in all, I got to call it a highlight. That was good stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, you agree? All agreed. We're happy with that. It's a highlight for you. You wanted the Street Profits to win, did you?
No, I didn't. But I didn't want the match to take place at all, if I'm honest.
But the tag titles have to exist, Carl.
Well, they do, but I mean, yeah.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked the Mysterios haven't got them yet. I figured that was what was happening. But speaking of Mysterios, my first shite, Carl. Rey Mysterio taking the win over Otis. Now, I'm not a big Otis guy, right? Never really been into the guy. But why is Rey Mysterio taking the win? What does that do for anybody?
I don't know.
Doesn't even help this randomly ongoing feud they've got. But like, Otis should have took the win on that. I'm not a big fan of Otis, but like, this does nothing for any of the talent. Like, Rey doesn't need the victory, so I don't know. It's a fucking weird result, that.
It's almost like this didn't need to happen either, which is going to be my sentiments when I get to my final score.
Ooh, interesting. So the Natalya match, Carl, goes as no shite because of the not so much the match itself. Like, I don't know how you feel about this, because a lot of people are like, well, they've booked her for that long, that way it probably would be more unrealistic to do what I want to do. But the fact that she got like a surprise roll up, and I'm like, why can't you ever just give her a legitimate win? She knows what she's doing in the ring. It wouldn't be totally unrealistic, other than the fact that they constantly book her to lose. But yeah, it had to be a surprise roll. It's the only way she could have beat Baszler, because not most often than not she doesn't win. So it's more about the slight. It's not really a screwy finish, but the slightly screwy finish, you know.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, the whole thing with Natalya is baffling to me. Like, they never seem to just know what to do with her. They can't pull the trigger on anything from a single standpoint, and they put her in a tag team, and then you kind of get cold feet there, so they've got to have her do more singles matches. It's just, I don't know, it's the weirdest booking ever. Baffling.
Yeah, it is strange. Speaking of strange, Carl. So I was excited. We opened the show. We had a bit of a promo. We had a little bit of a stare down. I know you weren't overly thrilled that he weren't taking him on, but the potential for Reigns versus Cesaro seemed like, yeah, this could be good. This could be the good next feud for the title. Obviously, this resulted in Jey Uso fighting Cesaro because that's how everything works now. So Jey Uso is having a match with Cesaro. Cesaro is clearly dominating him fairly well. What do we get? Oh, we get Cesaro taking the win by DQ. Why did he take the win by DQ? Because Seth fucking Rollins had to get involved again. Because apparently we're not done with that, and that's what annoys me. Like, why? Like, this was good. It made Cesaro look good. He's come off a good win at Mania. Move on. The fuck have they done this for? So now we're going to carry on this feud for no reason. So they've already had a match on the biggest stage of them all, and we have to carry on. Don't know why.
I think it might be leading towards another triple threat. I think for whatever reason they're scared of doing Roman go one-on-one with anybody, and so it's like, well, it could have been him and Cesaro, but now we add Seth Rollins into the mix, and his chances go drastic down if I was going to do Scott's Dynamite. So yeah, I don't know why, but that's my thinking on it. Like, it makes no sense why they would carry that feud on unless they're going to do something. Maybe they can't decide which way to go, whether it's going to be Rollins versus Reigns or it's going to
I
be
take your
Cesaro
point.
versus
It's like
Reigns.
they almost have to give themselves like an opportunity to get out of it. Like, so we might pull the trigger on that, but we'll give ourselves a backup plan. Like, it just, yeah. I was actually I like that Rollins is back, and I've always been a fan of Rollins, but I was so annoyed when he got into interfering in this. It was just like, for fuck's sake.
Well, I think the fact that like the way that they planned it out almost made you think, okay, they are going to finally pull the trigger with Cesaro, and then the way it ended was like, nah, no, they're not.
Yep. So it just went like proper entire show
Proper.
downhill. Yeah,
If you can help me categorize that, or if you help me spell that, Anthony, even then we could, that's another share right there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do my best.
Just went proper.
What I'll do, I'll keep doing that noise to Siri and seeing out what she interprets it as, and we'll put that on a shirt.
Okay, I like it.
Okay, cool. And that was the show, Carl. That was my shites for the week. Unless you have any particular mentions you want to mention, but otherwise, you won't like my rating, Carl. But I'm probably going to give it a 2.
What? Baffling.
It was
baffling.
Some wrestling happened.
Did it?
It didn't annoy me as much as Raw.
No, it didn't, which is why I'm going to give it a 1, because it wasn't quite a 0.5. For me, and again, I'm going to judge these harshly because they are the post-WrestleMania shows. And they were awful, really. If you look at that card, the night after WrestleMania, what moved? What has set the scene for, or the fucking trajectory of the show for the next couple of weeks?
You know
nothing. Fucking nothing.
You're right. I'm going to change my rating, actually. I'm going to join you at a 1. Yes. Because you have a really good point. Because I was so harsh on Raw. I even admitted that I probably would have given Raw a better rating had it not been the Raw after Mania. So why am I being nice at the SmackDown? Because I've had nearly a week to get over it. No, this is still the SmackDown after Mania, and it should have been better. So you're right, and I'm going to join you at a 1.
Yes,
fuck this show.
You've seen the light. But I don't know. I just don't get it. Like, they could have pulled the trigger on Cesaro, but they haven't. So we're no further along, really. Belair came out and just did a celebration. Like, all right, well, what's next for her? Like, what's the plan with that? The rest of the stuff
apparently
was
Bayley. Bayley's getting almost as notable as Charlotte now for just being randomly inserted into shit. But apparently Bayley, and don't get me wrong, I felt slightly bad for Bayley at Mania because she kind of had nothing to do. But even so, just like going, well, yeah, she's probably going to be the next one to fight for the belt. Seems a bit lazy.
Well, it's like we've seen her as the champion for God knows how long now. It was like, can you not just do something different with somebody?
Exactly. But the trouble is, women's division's too scattered, man.
Well, if they didn't try fucking throwing people together for shit tag teams.
That's true. Here's one fun one for you. Not SmackDown related, but I saw it before and I found this intriguing, right? Probably should have mentioned it in the news, but we'll fucking put it at the end of this show as like a little Easter egg for those who listen right to the end. I was on Twitter before, and I'll even name the people a Twitter account of Fiend for Follows. And they highlighted something that I think is absolutely baffling. And what they pointed out was that in WWE 2K20, the game, obviously, you can now, thanks to WWE's constant releases over the last couple of years, you can now fill an entire 30-man Royal Rumble with all released talent. How ridiculous is that?
Wow.
And that's their most recent game.
I would love to know who is on that. To be fair, I would love to know like who
To be
them
fair,
30 people are.
he put the image up, so you like if you go over to their Twitter handle, you'll be able to see the image, and because they had the card laid out there on the 30-man Rumble. But yeah, I found that an interesting Easter egg. Is like, right, so you've done that many releases over the last couple of years that's how bad it is now that the technically your last 2K game, because I don't think 22 is out yet, as mostly or quite a large number of fucking released talents. That's how ridiculous the releases have been.
Shocking.
Shocking stuff.
Not just shock, not just all. Shock and all.
Shock master. And that was this week in wrestling, Carl. We're done.
It was. We are done.
Yeah.
What a week. What a week it was, Anthony.
What a week it was.
Not
only did we talk about the wrestling, not only did we talk about the news, we also talked to Adam Bomb.
We did. We fucking did. And it was
I'm never going to call him by his real name.
Never.
It's Adam Bomb, damn it.
Adam Bomb to me, damn it. Yeah, I mean, I thought that was a fascinating talk with him. You know, Indeed. The career he's had, the stuff he's done, has overcome, setting the record straight on things. You know, if you just looking at his history, the people he's been in the ring with, and you know how he was probably just an Intercontinental Championship away from potentially being a megastar, really. And you know that was promised and didn't kind of deliver. So yeah, I just think it's cool to do what we do. That's all I'm saying. I was excited about it before. We've done it today, and I just think that was cool. I was happy.
Honestly,
hopefully you all liked it too.
Definitely cool to do what we do, mate. It's always been a passion project, but when you can do things like that, where we speak to people who we saw in the ring as children, not them, us, and
not that old,
and like you like you say, he's wrestled some of the biggest ones in the biz. Like he was always on the cusp of being something. And don't be wrong, he was something awesome, but he was always in like a cusp of being the top of the business and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And yeah, just absolutely really awesome fella and an awesome talk. And we get to do stuff like that, which is boss.
It is boss. Unlike most of the shows on This Week in Wrestling. But thanks for sticking with us to the end of yet another fun-filled edition of the A2theK Wrestling Show. As always,
now play that funky music, Carl.
Well, hang on. We've got to do the thing that people do. We're not.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go on.
Click the bell and follow. We're not going to be like that. But check us out on socials. Every follow helps. If you want to subscribe on YouTube, go for it. You know what I mean? Back off Tesco. Don't start this whole Colin Caterpillar thing. The
fucking hell.
Aldi and M&S do. Very British thing
absolutely
for any of you.
It is. You know what though? Like, well, let's be British for a sec. Have you seen Aldi's Twitter? They are so on fucking point.
They are indeed. Excellent.
I was made up with them. They're like, this isn't just any lawsuit. I was like, you guys are fucking legends.
Yeah, crazy things that take up the news outlets in the UK is fighting over chocolate caterpillar cakes. That's all you can ever hope to expect from the UK. But yeah.
Or in other words, it was a slow news week.
It was very slow. Caterpillar level slow. But yeah, we will be back next week with some more fun stuff in a segment where we're probably going to talk off the back of some of the newly released superstars in terms of maybe some of the releases that WWE have done in the past that could have worked out quite differently potentially. So we might talk about that. We might change our minds. I could be telling you this now, and you think you're lying, bastard. We didn't talk about that, but we'll talk about it eventually. But that's the plan.
Talk about whatever the fuck we want, Dammy.
Yeah, and you'll listen if you want to.
But, you'll listen to every damn word I have to say,
whether you like it or not. Yeah, that was another show. We are us, and we will see you next week. Hopefully on time for once. But yeah, as you said, I will play that funky music, white boy, and yeah, see you next week, folks.
See you next week.
You're watching or listening
to A to the K.
The A to the K.
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 These guys are awesome. Check it out.
Check it out. Change your life. You'll be thanking me later.